Stay down.
I want to take a moment to quickly describe the biggest difference between Yandere Simulator and other stealth games. In Metal Gear Solid, it doesn't really matter what this guard thinks of the protagonist. His opinion is irrelevant. If the protagonist punches him in the face, he'll be angry, but his opinion has no effect on the rest of the game. As soon as the player moves on to the next area, that guard no longer exists in the game's memory, along with his opinion of the main character. If Agent 47 punches a man in Paris, it has no effect whatsoever on his next mission in Japan. That man no longer exists, and neither does his opinion. This is where Yandere Simulator is different. The game is designed around the concept of a character who must continue returning to the same location every day, school, where they will see the exact same people from yesterday, their classmates. People remember what they saw you doing on previous days. If you make a habit of frightening the people around you or get caught doing bad things, you'll develop a bad reputation and get a game over. In Yandere Simulator, the player is not given the option of attacking people non-lethally. If you were to attack someone without killing them and let them escape, they would just report you to the school's faculty and you'd be expelled. There's no gameplay benefit to leaving someone injured or half dead, so it's simply not an option in the game. Making the choice to attack someone in Yandere Simulator means that you are making a commitment. You're committing to killing them, and nothing less. This is the way that the game has always worked. Until today.
Los vándalos.
As of today, a new type of character has been added to the game. They are called the Delinquents. They are no strangers to violence, and they will not hesitate to use physical force to defend themselves if they feel threatened. But if you were to beat them up, they would respect you rather than hate you. They don't respect the school's authority figures, so they would never report you for misbehavior. They don't care about school rules, and they don't talk to anyone outside of their gang. So if they spot you doing something bad, your reputation would not be affected. These factors put them into a different category than every other student. They are the one type of character you can attack non-lethally without worrying about them hating you or trying to get you expelled. There are also multiple reasons why it might benefit the player to attack the Delinquents. Because of all these factors, a combat minigame has been added to Yandere Simulator that allows the player to fight the Delinquents. In June of 2016, I proposed the idea of a Yakuza-style beat-em-up combat system in Yandere Simulator. There were a lot of problems with this idea, so the concept was rejected. The combat system that I've added to the game today does not resemble the beat-em-up combat in the Yakuza games. What I've created is just a simple minigame. I'll explain how it works. To win, the player has to press 3 buttons in a row. If you miss any of the buttons, the minigame resets.
Oh, se la esquivó. Se la esquivó, se la esquivó.
If you miss the first button, Yandere-chan takes damage. If you take too much damage, you lose the minigame. The Delinquents are not bloodthirsty barbarians. They will attack you in self-defense if they feel threatened. But if they see that you are too injured to continue fighting, they will back off. However, if a delinquent watches you kill someone, He won't show any mercy, and losing the minigame will result in Yandere-chan being knocked unconscious. After that, the delinquent will call the police and be arrested for the crime of murder. If you win the combat minigame, the delinquent will drop his weapon, and instead of following his usual routine, he will go somewhere else to sulk about losing. But if a delinquent has seen you kill somebody, he won't drop his weapon when you defeat him, and he will keep trying to attack you until you force him to stop by killing him. If a student sees you fighting a delinquent, you get a reputation penalty. If a teacher, senpai, or a student council member sees you fighting a delinquent, you'll get a game over. If you are injured during a fight with a delinquent, bruises and blood will appear on Yandere-chan's face, and her animations will change. To return, but you cause which will lower her reputation. Now that I've explained why the combat minigame exists and how it works, I'll tell you about a few other things that make the delinquents unique. First, the delinquents arrive at school later than any other group of students, and they intentionally arrive at class a few minutes late because they don't value their education as much as other students. They carry weapons, and their fingerprints are on those weapons. So if you commit murder with a delinquent's weapon without getting your own fingerprints on that weapon, you can frame a delinquent for murder. The delinquents have no desire to socialize with you. So if you try to apologize to them, compliment them, or gossip with them, they will respond with rude, dismissive remarks.
Tell someone who cares.
They are also immune to seduction. So no matter how high your seduction stat is, they simply won't do favors for you. The delinquents will shove you if you get too close to them, just like the student council. If you bump into them too many times, they will assume that you're trying to pick a fight with them, and the combat minigame will begin. If you take out a weapon near the delinquents, they will feel threatened and will prepare to fight you. If you don't do anything, they will taunt you. If you continue to, they'll insult you and continue on their way. If you get too close to them with a weapon drawn, the combat minigame will begin. If they see you commit murder or see you trying to dispose of a corpse, they'll try to fight you. They spend most of their time near the school's incinerator, which makes them an obstacle if you're trying to dispose of a corpse by burning it. You'll have to beat them up to make them leave the area, or find a creative way to sneak a corpse past them. There are a bunch of other minor differences between the delinquents and normal students. You can visit my development blog if you want to read about everything else that makes the delinquents unique. You're probably wondering what happened to the original delinquents. After a lot of consideration, I decided that their designs simply aren't appropriate for a modern-day setting. They look like they belong in the 80s. So I've decided to throw them into a time portal to 1989. Yandere-chan will never meet them, but her mother encountered them when she was a teenage girl attending high school. Last year, I described my idea for an alternate gameplay mode called 1980s mode. If I ever add that mode to the game, that's where you would find the original delinquents. You might also be wondering, if Academy High is supposed to be a prestigious school, why would they tolerate the presence of delinquents? I think it's important to answer this question, so my next video will provide some backstory and explain the reason why the delinquents are tolerated at Academy High. I think it's probably going to be ready in the near future. You may be wondering if Yandere-chan could ever the delinquents. This is something that I eventually want to add to the game, but it's not a very high priority yet. I imagine that I wouldn't even talk to you unless you were using the tough persona at a low reputation. Then, you'd have to beat them all in a fight to make them respect you. At that point, each of them would offer you a task, If you complete all 5 tasks, you would be allowed to join their gang. The downside of being a delinquent is that your reputation is permanently capped at a low number. The upside is that being a delinquent changes the favor menu option into an intimidate menu option that allows you to force students to do favors for you without befriending them first. While I was working on the delinquents, I received the models and animations I need to implement other features that I've been waiting a very long time to add to the game. I'm very excited to work on these features. I might populate some of the empty clubs with new students, or work on the mysterious obstacle, or maybe I'll make progress on the guidance counselor. I'm not sure what I'll work on first, but either way, I'll continue going down the checklist of features that need to be in the game in order to make it fun to eliminate Osana. Before I get back to work, I wanted to say one last thing. Thank you for helping me reach 2 million subscribers. I'm very happy that so many people enjoy watching this game take shape. As always, thank you for following the development of Yandere Simulator.